The security footage didn't lie. Karen Morrison, dressed head to toe in black, like she was starring in some made-for-TV crime, crawling under my fence at 2:47 in the morning. Not even a raccoon moves that desperate. But what she found on the other side wasn't a free pass to vandalize my yard. It was 3 tons of concrete and me standing over her, trying not to laugh as the sun came up. "You wanted to mess with my property line, Karen? Well, congrats. You picked the wrong single mom to mess with. You know, people say you never really know your neighbors until you get a crack in your fence." That first splintered board showed up on a Tuesday late September when I was up to my elbows in tomato vines. That little garden, scrappy as it was, kept me sane through the mess of my divorce, through Marcus leaving, through the custody hearings, the friends who suddenly weren't sure they could pick sides, all that. My 8-year-old Emma was right there, hands already stained red from picking tomatoes. She asked if something was wrong, and I told her no. It was just a little damage, trying to keep my voice light. But when I got close, it was obvious someone had forced that board loose. Not time, not weather, deliberate. And through that gap, I caught a perfect view of Karen Morrison's backyard, where the grass looked like it was cut with tweezers, where Karen herself stood at her kitchen window, coffee mug raised in a toast so smug I wanted to chuck a tomato right through her fancy double pane. Emma, bless her, muttered, "That woman gives me the creeps." And yeah, out of the mouths of babes, right? But I told her that's not how we talk about neighbors, even though Karen had made it her personal mission to make our lives hell ever since we moved into Maplewood. She'd arrived in this subdivision with a stack of complaints: wrong mailbox, wrong grass, height too much compost, smell like she was the queen of the HOA. Our president, Ted Hoffman, tried to keep the peace, but after he told Karen my property was grandfathered in, she got creative noise complaints if Emma so much as laughed outside after 6 disputes about exactly 3 inches of my garden encroaching on her property. When the surveyor proved her wrong, she switched to calling my compost unsanitary. I mean, you'd think I was running a landfill. But this was next level. Somebody broke my fence. I pulled out my phone, snapped every angle. Marcus got the big house, and most of the friends. I got Emma the dog in a 3-bedroom in a wannabe upscale subdivision. I put every bit of myself into making that place safe for my girl. No way was I letting Karen take that too. I sent Emma inside, called Ted. He picked up on the second ring. "How you holding up, Sarah?" he asked. "Been better," I told him. "And I'm pretty sure Karen busted my fence last night." He wanted proof, of course. "Document everything he said. If you catch her, call the cops." So I did what any desperate mom would. I drove to the electronics store where my ex Jake worked in security. We stayed friends. He never liked Marcus anyway. Jake took one look at my face, said, "Uh-oh, what did Karen do now?" Half the contractors in town already hated her. She'd called the city on a guy for improper mulch application, whatever that is. We picked out a couple motion-activated cameras, night vision, phone alerts, the whole 9 yards. Jake even helped me hide them. He knows Karen's type. That night, Emma went to bed at 8:30. After I checked her window locks twice, thanks to her worried little voice, I finally collapsed. At 11:47, my phone buzzed a motion alert. At first, nothing but shadows. Then a crouched figure by my back fence prying at the slat with a crowbar. Woman's build, baseball cap, the works. I hit record, my heart racing. Karen Morrison in the flesh at midnight, breaking my fence wider. But she didn't stop there. She crawled right through, crossed my yard like she owned it, and picked my garden shed lock. 5 minutes later, she walked out with my best pruning shears and trowel. And before crawling back, she knelt down and just destroyed 6 tomato plants I'd raised from seed, cut them up, dug them out by the roots, left my own tools in the dirt as a calling card. Who does that? Who destroys a neighbor's garden out of spite? I called 911. 2 officers showed up, one young and trying to prove himself, one older and already tired of neighbor drama. "Ma'am, I assume you have video evidence?" the younger one asked. "Oh, I do," I said, shoving my phone at him. "My neighbor just committed breaking and entering, theft, vandalism, take your pick." Next morning, Emma saw the damage and just crumpled sobbing over her ruined tomatoes. I held her and promised we'd plant more, but honestly, I wanted to march next door and, Officer Bradley came by to take my report. I gave him everything: video photos, a timeline of 6 months of harassment, even the threatening text Karen sent me the week before. He whistled, "You're organized," and we marched over to Karen's. She was out front watering flowers that didn't need it, hair-perfect pink tracksuit like she'd just stepped out of a tennis ad. She played innocent, claimed she was home all night, that her husband could vouch for her. Never mind he was on business in Chicago. And she'd be happy to provide security footage when he got back. When Bradley showed her the video, Karen laughed a high fake laugh, said, "This could be anyone, officer. You can't even see a face." She spun some story about stress, told him I was unbalanced after my divorce and maybe I should seek help. The implication burned in the air. Bradley shrugged. Told me unless I had more, it wouldn't stick. She had an alibi. The text was from a spoofed number. Any lawyer could punch holes in the case. I sat on my porch furious, called my sister Lisa out in Portland. She said if someone harassed me, I'd make him regret it. I told her, maybe I'm tired of being the responsible one. Lisa said, "Sarah, you're scaring me." I told her everything: Karen's months of complaints, the break-in, the cops blowing me off. Lisa asked if I'd thought about moving. But with what money this house is all Emma and I have. So I decided to fight smart. I spent 2 hours at the library learning everything about property law, HOA rules, harassment statutes. Set up more hidden cameras, made a spreadsheet of every incident, documented everything. If the cops wanted evidence, I'd give them evidence. Karen was about to find out who she was dealing with. A couple nights later, my phone buzzed again. Someone at the fence. I grabbed a baseball bat, killed the backyard lights, slipped out the door. Karen was there, only this time she was mounting a little wireless camera on my side of the property line. "Really, Karen," I said, stepping into the light with my phone rolling. She froze, white as a ghost. "This isn't what it looks like. It looks like you're committing a felony," I snapped. "So here's what's going to happen. You're going to take that thing down, apologize, and leave us alone, or I make your life very difficult." The mask slipped, and for a second I saw the real Karen, the one who army crawls under fences at 2 a.m. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. Digging through property records, I found out her husband, Richard Morrison, wasn't just HOA royalty. He was the regional VP for Davidson Construction. The same company with a laundry list of shady lawsuits, bid rigging deaths on job sites, water contamination at a school, all swept under the rug. Public records showed Richard's signature on everything. But you know what's funny? Everything was documented. The law doesn't care who you are if the paperwork's right. I spent the whole night connecting dots. By sunrise, I had a binder of evidence and a new ally, Janet Reeves, an investigative journalist who'd been trying to bust Davidson Construction for years. I laid it all out for her: Karen's campaign, the midnight vandalism, the mountain of public records. Janet's eyes lit up like Christmas, but she needed a smoking gun proof of actual criminal activity. That's when I realized my ex Marcus worked at Davidson Construction as an auditor. I paid him a little visit, told him Karen was harassing his daughter, and laid the documents on his desk. He paled, but when I told him what Karen had threatened, he caved. "Sarah, you can't drag me into this. You already are," I said. The next week was a blur. Janet verifying documents, me logging every move Karen made, and Marcus quietly passing me insider files, emails, contracts, even whistleblower stuff. When Janet realized we had enough for a federal case, she went into overdrive. This isn't just a neighbor spat. This is RICO territory. We went to the EPA with evidence of bid rigging and environmental violations. 2 days later, Richard Morrison requested a meeting, public park, broad daylight, the works. He was shorter than I expected, soft around the middle, cold eyes. He laid out his threats. He'd ruin my ex, take my house, get me fired, even push for Emma to be taken away. Withdraw your complaint. Return the documents. Move out, or your life falls apart. That's when I realized this wasn't about a garden or a fence. It was about power, about people like Richard thinking they owned everything, even justice. I told him I needed time. He gave me till Monday. but by Sunday night, Janet's story had gone live front page. EPA raided Davidson's job sites. The FBI got involved, and Richard's lawyers were too busy to handle Karen's neighborly problems. By Monday, Karen's for sale sign was up, and I was still right where I belonged, behind my own fence drinking coffee in the sunshine with Emma and Buster in the yard. And you know what? People ask if I regretted taking on the Morrisons blowing up my quiet life. But as I watch Emma dig her hands into the dirt, laughing as she plants new tomatoes, I know I did the only thing a mom could do. I fought back. And if you're wondering what's right and wrong in a mess like this, if standing up makes you a troublemaker or a hero, well, tell me what you think down below, because justice in the suburbs, sometimes you've got to grow it yourself. So, whose side are you on? Let's hear it in the comments.